Want to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. Got a real good show for you today. We'll have my guest on today, Miss Shirley Marshall, who's running for Ward 3, Position 2. Going to let her speak to you why she believes she's deserving of your vote. And of course, we're going to speak about question. Should police officers who continue to wreck our police cars at the taxpayers' expense, should they be drug tested? You know, it's just like any other job. When you have an accident, for the most part, they drug test you. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about, and also school balance. So just sit tight. We'll be back in just a little bit. Get your cup of coffee, water, soda, or what have you. Okay? See you soon. Want to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. Today I have another guest, young lady, who will be running for City Council. She's a candidate for City Council, Ward 3, Position 2. We're going to speak about that today. Also, we're going to speak about the question that I put before some of my followers. Due to the fact that we continue to have so many police officers destroying police cars, should we, the taxpayers that is, should we demand that these officers be drug tested? It's no different than any other job. You know, when you have an accident to where it warranty the employee taking or submitting him or herself to a drug test. That's pretty standard. And so I'm just curious, to know. I mean, are we actually requiring police officers to take a drug test when they are involved in a vehicle accident on the job? Okay. So we're going to be talking about that. Of course, we was going to talk about also about school violence. I'm just going to touch base on that. There's some changes in terms of me speaking on it, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I want you all to govern yourself. Again, we got early voting that's coming up. Let me find it. We got early voting that's coming up. I just had it. Now, what did I do with it? Right here. Oh, here we go. We got early voting. It begins October the 24th through November the 7th. Okay. That's October the 24th through November the 7th. I don't get the time. I have to give you the time later. And the election day is November, the general election, that is November the 8th. All right. So govern yourself to those dates. And before I do get into the show, I want to say that uh, I want to show you a photo, if I may. Let me go up here and find it. I need to show you a photo. The reason that is so important that I want you to take a look at this photo right here. Let me blow it up a little bit. This is a young lady. I think she live over in Jonesboro. Um, I think her name is um, Miss Johnson. Almost called her first name. I got it written down somewhere here. Um, Haley Johnson. This is a young lady named Haley Johnson, and she was involved in a collision. I think it was I don't know if it was a city, Jonesboro police car. I think it was a state trooper. I have to go back and look at my notes. But a state trooper was speeding. Okay, that's why we need to talk about speeding, high pursuit, and all. But this particular state trooper, um, I think he ran the light or stop sign or something, and he collided with Miss Johnson and two other people that was in the vehicle with her. Of course, she was the only one that was injured. Okay, she was the only one that was injured. Um, she actually uh, suffered paralysis. Uh, I'm hoping that you all can see that. Let me see, make sure that uh, I don't probably don't even have it on. Oh, here we go. I didn't have it on. But this is the young lady that I'm speaking about right here. Uh, Her name is, let me see if I can blow that up. Uh, get rid of that. Okay, now, but her name is Haley Johnson. She was involved. This is an accident that occurred back in 2019. Okay, 2019. She's still trying to get some justice. A state trooper collided with her and two other people that was in the vehicle with her. Uh, I have my notes here somewhere. I can't find it. Uh, but anyway, she's trying to get some justice. She do have an attorney. And she's been fighting this thing for, I want to say, for 3 years now. This accident occurred, as I indicated, in 2019. This is why we uh, demand, and I think there's also state law, forget policy, but police officers as well as state troopers, when they are in high pursuit or whatever, they must always have a mindset. What is the possibility of me crashing into someone, that it be a car or that it be a pedestrian, and injuring them, if not injuring myself? And so they yet have a duty to always control their vehicle with safety, especially when they coming into the area to where there's other vehicles and where there's people in terms of whether they walking or what. They have a duty to be cautious of the what if possibilities, if you will. But this young lady, her life was turned upside down. You know, left her in the state that she's in right now. She's paralyzed. She's paralyzed, and she have a lawsuit that's pending right now. And so um, she's supposed to come on my show. I'm trying to wait until she is ready. We almost almost had it to the point to where she was going to come on back here, um, you know, 2 weeks ago. But I think she had a little butterflies or whatever, and I don't want to pressure her. I want her to come on to when she believes she's able to speak to the public. So this is why police officers should never speed uh, through any type of intersection to where they can foresee the possibility of crashing into another vehicle or worst case scenario, running over a pedestrian. All right. And so that's why we're going to be talking about that as well later on after I conclude the interview with my guest. All right. So, okay. So let's get back to my guest. Again, I don't need to introduce this lady, Miss Shirley Marshall. She's a longtime resident of Blytheville, Arkansas, and I'm trying to get through all the candidates. I did reach out to Mr. Billy Fair uh, to see if he would had a desire to want to come on and speak to the voters, but at this time, I think he sort of, he sort of said he rather not come on. Uh, I don't know if that mean now or later, uh, but in terms of the day, he passed, and so we're going to go with Miss Shirley Marshall. She's his contestant or opponent or whatever for Ward 3, Position 2. So we're going to go ahead and bring her on right now. Let me go up here and bring her on right now. How you doing, Miss Marshall?
Hi, how you doing, Tony?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I
Yes.
see you had a pretty long day at church today, huh?
Oh, yes, we did. We did. It lasts a little longer than usual,
Well,
but it
you
was
got
good
here.
though. It was
You got
good.
here, and that's what's important.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
and
it.
of course, I just want to just go ahead and give you the opportunity to speak to the voters,
Okay,
to share with them as to why you believe you're the better candidate to
okay.
serve as the next city council rep. And
Mhm.
what we're going to do before we conclude, since I got my board back working,
Okay.
if there is anyone that maybe have any questions uh, for you, in terms of, to the office that you're seeking, uh,
Yes.
we're going to go ahead and refer to the board. Okay.
Okay. That'll be
And
fine.
so, what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to go ahead and yield to you, uh, and just let you tell a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you desire to serve as the next city council representative for Ward 3, Position 2. Floor is
O-
yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Hollis,
All
and
right.
thank you for having me on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my name is Shirley Marshall. Some people know me as Shirley Middlebrook. I was born and raised in Blytheville. Attended school here, Franklin School, Harrison School. Graduated at Blytheville High. Lifelong resident here in Blytheville. As far as the political aspect of it, I've had a track record in community development,
Uh-huh.
worked in housing for over 40 years, so I have an extensive record in housing.
That's some resume.
Some resume
All right.
and some experience, and I've learned a lot, and I was able to bring a lot to the table as well, having vision and passion for my community.
Uh-huh.
I'm from a family with a long history of politics and community service. My
Uh-huh.
mom, beg your pardon,
No,
where you say,
I'm just
okay.
nothing. I'm just agreeing with you. Uh-huh.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, my brother, matter of fact, Lonnie Middlebrook held this exact same office
Uh-huh.
a little bit better than over a little bit over 20 years ago. And like I said, I'm from a political family, and we worked in the community, serving the community, even in high school. Being in different forums where we had to step up and represent our classmates, and do things in the community to make the community better.
Uh-huh.
So I have had some experience. It seemed like a life of being in community service. I look at being on the city council as something different. Like I said, I know when you're in the ministry, especially you're serving. But when you're looking at being on the city council, you're going to be more accountable to the entire city. Okay, now I'm looking at, I don't know who's going to be the current mayor or what have you, but I'm looking at working with the person that's going to be in leadership to help guide Blavel to be a better place to live.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I look at Blavel as being so integral as far as our position. I mean, we're not where Jonesboro is. At one time, Jonesboro and Blavel were about the same. We had the base, they had Arkansas State University, and the population was even about the same. Now, Jonesboro shot up. I think they're at about 50,000 now.
I
We,
think they well
for
over
some
60 now.
reason, right at 60. Okay, so we, for some reason, didn't trail on that too well. I don't know. Well, I know it has a lot to do with our leadership. Although we can't blame all of it on leadership, because you don't have to be the mayor or a city council to do improvements and do things in your community. So I'm not gonna cast blame on anybody. Like they said, it takes a village. We all need to work together and see what can be done. And a lot of times we look at what people are doing, and some things they've inherited from other administrations. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint what's going on, what needs to be done, and really don't
Hmm.
need to dwell on it that much. We need to look at what we need to be doing now.
Well, all
So
right.
I feel very strongly that I would be representative of Blavel to the highest degree, because being on the city council, I'd be in a position to do more. I'd be able to see more what is already there and see what can be done. Like I said, this is my home, and I have a passion for Blavel. Uh, like a position, I want to mention that again. Uh, Blavel is a good place to live. I know many people had opportunity to move other places. Some people have moved other places, but we're sitting here. We have uh, we have Blavel. I mean, excuse me. We have Arkansas. We have Mississippi, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and you're an hour away from all those places, so you can go and do whatever you want to do. I look at Blavel as being also a good retirement community.
Hmm.
Okay. Beside which I don't know what's going to be another topic from the crime rate and things like
Oh
that, which
yes,
you have in our,
we will be getting to that.
yeah, we're going to be
We
getting to
will be
that as
getting to that.
well. But
You
Blackville's
know.
a good place to live overall, I think. And like I said, but it can be made better as far as the housing and the infrastructure and other things that we can do to make it a better place to live.
Well, all right. What this is what I want to do. I just want to show you exactly. We're not going to go through all those questions that they went through
Hmm.
last week or a couple of weeks ago
Okay.
at the auditorium. And basically,
Okay.
I just go ahead and highlight them. I think they talked a lot about dilapidated housing infrastructure. Really
Hmm.
was a talking point.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, that was
Big
one of the
issue.
questions there. It was saying, what plans do candidates have with the Blavel School District to collaborate and assist the youth, assuring they have everything needed uh, uh, for a successful life, that the youth will choose to remain in Blavel. Yeah, and of course, they was talking about the youth. If elected mayor, what become uh, job one in your administration? Of course, that question was posed to the candidates who's running for mayor. Uh, of course, this was a platform for those candidates for mayor.
Right,
What
right.
plans do candidates have to continue in partnership with the steel industry in Blytheville? Uh, there was another one. In candidate administration, will there be any significant efforts to recruit more non-steel industry that are female-friendly type jobs? I think that question was a pretty good question. Everyone, especially a female, when you start talking about employment, the steel mill wouldn't be her first place. Uh, well, wouldn't be her first choice for places to work.
No.
So that question was more catered to bringing in more industry job wise that that females will feel have a desire to seek employment. Uh, and and five, I think it was number six, and five is what are plans candidates what are plans candidates to expedite the process and demolition, what they talking about, the houses and refurbishing structure in the city that have been vacated. They talking about tearing down the houses again, demolishing them. And I think the last thing that they had was uh, how would candidates repaint the streets in Blytheville? Also, do candidates have a solution for the drainage problem? And so that's basically the six question that they went through. It lasted for about a 2 hour meeting. And so, but those are, we're going to try to, we will be talking about infrastructure, but what we're going to pick up at is that very little was talked about, which is crime. You know, regardless of what Thompson and Mayor Sanders saying about crime is, and as well as I think Miss Brothers had alluded to, crime was down, but she was pretty much uh, alluding to violent crime like murder. Talking about the murder rates is down. Crime of any kind, that it be an assault, that it be rape, that it be breaking and entering, crime of any kind. It places fear in the community. And so I guess starting off with crime, of course, we did have what about a couple of weeks ago we had another murder. And so we're still not out the woods yet in terms of violent crime. So uh we just talking. You as a city council rep, should you win this seat, how do you plan to work with the mayor and the council for as uh, giving any type of proposal, plans, or what have you that can, uh, you know, take us out of this rut, if you will. I mean, we still have major improvements to do to make that is when it comes to improving our crime rate. So,
Mhm.
what can you bring to the table as a city council rep working with your your fellow council members as well as the mayor? So, how do you believe you can help?
Well, for one thing, Tony, I see there is a lot of crime in Blytheville,
Hmm.
and right now I notice there are a lot of programs that are developing to deter crime. As far as the youth is concerned, see, which seems to be the main issue with the youth. Uh,
I agree. I agree.
uh, there's some people working on community centers and things like that, and I would like to propose promoting what people are already doing. So many people are doing things and they're finding it hard to get it done. And it may not be in the city administration job to do these things, but to promote others that are trying to. I think some things are going on out at an ANC where they're developing programs where the youth are getting better training to get better jobs, and that's going to be very instrumental as far as the crime is concerned, because people, they want to feel like they have a livelihood as far as the income and be able to do the things that they need to get done. And I think it's going to be very important to work with the police department and the mayor and the city as a whole, but working together, and the things that are already going on, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to be more supportive of the things that are out there already.
Okay, let me ask you this here. Uh, you mentioned jobs, which I agree with. I mean, if
Hmm.
a person has a job, especially if it's a good job,
Hmm.
he or she is not gonna mess things up. I mean, they're
Right.
gonna. I mean, because that's their bread and butter. That's how they
Right.
live. That's how they,
Right.
that's how they go out and pay their bills and
Hmm.
even have some of the pleasure money, if you will.
Right.
But
Right.
you mentioned youth, and we mentioned jobs. There
Hmm.
was also talk about youth not having nothing to do, and so
Right.
there was talk about maybe a youth center or something like that. And so,
Hmm.
would that be something that you would support in terms of?
Very much so, very much so. And like I said, I've heard just in attending, I would say in the Ward 3 meeting, I think we had some people coming in and said that they were interested in doing some things in the community as far as uh group youth what do you call it? Like I can't think what to call it, but
I know
something
what
like
you mean.
similar
Yeah,
to what the YMCA did.
yeah.
Just a place for them to go and do things and maybe work out and do curriculum, have different curriculum. So, people out there trying to do things. And it's not going to be all on just the city of Blytheville, I don't think, but to
Do,
promote one another if somebody's already doing it.
do you think the city council, as well as the mayor, um, do you think that there need to be better partnershiping with our school system and the police department, considering um, school violence is up all across the country? It's up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We yet still in various places still continue to hear about school shootings. And
Right.
so, what part can the city council play working in partnership with the Blythe School District in terms of trying to decrease school violence?
Like you already said, the partnership. We're gonna have to be able to work
All
together.
right.
I
Okay.
mean, we need to get into the schools and see what's going on and maybe have some more representation and more visualization there as far as being present and being seen by the youth. And
Okay.
like I said, encouraging them to want to do better and feel like they're safer. I don't know whether it's a big issue here, but I know a lot of times there's a lot of bullying going on, and things
Mhm.
like that. And the
Mhm.
children, they need to be able to concentrate on getting their education. That's
Oh,
the very important thing for them. But we need to be visible and let them know that we are concerned for their future.
okay. One other thing, we're gonna close on crime, unless you have
Hmm.
anything you want to add afterwards. But
Hmm.
my next question, I think it was a good investment. Our Sky Cops, as a matter of
Hmm.
fact, I spoke with them about this here probably years ago, probably going
Hmm.
back 20, oh Lord, 2013, I believe, somewhere in there,
Hmm.
because I had saw these Sky Cops at other cities and states that I visit.
Hmm.
And but at the same time, we know Sky Cops is only as good as you utilize them,
Right.
meaning that it's good that we have the Sky Cops, but the police department, they're not actually solving crimes. They reacting to crime after it's been committed by going to the Sky Cop, playing back the video or what have you, and perhaps maybe get a lead, which is good. That's a good
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
But I think if we utilize the Sky Cops, whereas it's pretty much like security. I think Pastor Jones, probably about 2 months ago, he was asking the chief this question, but of course, chief danced all around it. But what Pastor Jones, Councilman Jones, was asking was that, would the Sky Cops be better utilized if we had someone physically sitting there watching the Sky Cops in real time, the video and all, where you
Hmm.
can actually see the crime taking place right then and there? I think that if we utilize the Sky Cops, in that regard, I think we will really put a real big bite into taking out crime in our communities. So, do you think that's something that you can bring to the table, something that you can sign on to in terms of putting like 24-hour surveillance on the Sky Cops?
Hey, it would open the door for a new position for somebody because they need to be monitored. And also, if the
I agree.
public, if the general public knows that it's being monitored, that's going to make the person that's perpetrating the crime more, they're going to be
That's a
more
deterrent in
reluctant.
itself.
Yes, they're
You
going to
know.
be less likable to do the crime because they feel like they're being watched. I
Mhm.
think that's very important.
Well, all right.
Very great idea.
Well, we got two others that we're going to move to. As I said, it was a lot of talk about infrastructure that particular night at the auditorium. There was talk about well, they talked about drainage right there at the end. Um, they talked about dilapidated, well, not dilapidated, but the deteriorating streets in terms of we got streets that pretty much done fell in, bumpy, tear up your vehicles or whatever. uh, but there's been very little money allocated. Uh, I don't even know if there was a street plan, and so that's what I really want to talk about before I let you go a little further with the infrastructure. Uh, do you think that? I mean, do you think that it was somewhat, I would say, uh, bad on the administration part? I mean, for 12 years, to my knowledge, and even the administration before, Mayor Sanders' administration, uh, we don't have a street plan. And so, if we are to say improve the streets here in Blytheville, Arkansas, whether say we start on the south side, we do uh, we may want to do two streets there, and we move over to another section of the town, north side, east side, west side, on a rotation schedule. you know
Mhm.
I think that if we could have a street plan, that if we was on a rotation schedule and the voters can see us working, the taxpayers can see us working, and then you can say your tax dollars are at work. And so, would you be willing to support a street plan,
Hmm.
or what will you propose in terms of trying to improve the infrastructure?
Well, I agree with you. I think there definitely needs to be a plan because if you don't have a plan, you just out there doing something, you don't have a guide or anything. I mean,
Mhm.
what are you doing? You need a plan. And that's going to be very important to implement that. And like you said, to maybe do one section at a time, but that way your constituents and the general public can see the results of where the tax money is being spent and
Exactly.
what's going on. Yeah, it needs to be transparent and not any I don't know what happened. We the money's gone and where did it go?
Oh yes, transparency is key. It is key when you're
Yes.
dealing with,
Mhm. Mhm.
as I say, OMP, other people's money. I think you learned
Mhm.
that term
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
real estate.
Mhm. Mhm.
OMP, other people's money.
Mhm.
It's easy to work with other people's money as your own personal money. That is,
Right, right, right.
and so, but and like I say, that was something that, excuse me, I just threw out there. Is there anything else that you believe in terms of uh, what could be done that you can bring to the table to try to, expedite? I know it's not going to happen overnight, but we
No,
do
it's
need to
not.
move at a at a more rapid rate than what we have in the last, I'll say, 20 years. To be honest with you,
Well,
uh,
yeah. Go ahead.
and so I was just turning it over to you. I mean, what is there any other things that you can propose in terms of trying to improve our infrastructure, in terms of whether it's to expedite it, or any other things that you believe that you can propose to improve
Well,
infrastructure?
I just looking at it with the flooding and all the things that go on, you wonder if is it a draining problem. You can look on Facebook and you see flooded streets. I mean,
Uh-huh.
almost where you need a boat. Well, I don't want to say a boat, but I mean, it's just so it just looking at it, you don't know how deep it is unless you're right there.
Oh
But
yeah,
and then the water coming up in the house and you don't know how bad it is until you actually get out there to
I
see
agree.
what's going on. Okay, but like I said, I think there needs to be a plan. Definitely. And like you said, it's been going on so long. But one thing I've thought about, I know, like you said, I think I did hear you say about grants that all the money may not have come from grant. Although I do know that there's money for small cities. There's money set aside. Some things we know about and some things we don't. But that's where your research come in, and that's where I come in. I like to research things.
All right.
But
All right. It sounds
yeah,
like
I
you
like
ready to
to
go to work.
research things. I think I look at the school board even, and I'm impressed that they attend training. City council to me should attend training. We should be looking at what others are doing in small cities. We may not look at the urban area. We may not
Well, the city
learn much
council
from
do
them.
go to their municipal lead meetings. They do sit in on,
Right,
various,
right, right,
uh,
right. Well,
municipal lead.
the amount of training, and maybe a different type of training. I don't know. Until I get in there to
Mhm.
see what that part is about, I really don't. But I look at, you can learn a lot from what others are doing.
Mhm.
And you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Something is being
Uh-huh.
done somewhere else that you can do here. That was one of
Mhm.
my strong points when I worked with EOC. When
Uh-huh.
we attend different areas, I would see something they were doing and bring it back to my home. Made it
And
made
I
me look like I was very smart.
and I
But
do
I
see
was
some,
just,
yeah.
finding
Yeah. I do see
out
we
what
got
others are
some
doing.
Yeah, I do see we got some comments over here in the comment section. And I just want to say to the viewers, just hold your thoughts. We will be coming to you if you have a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Uh and we have just one other topic that that we wanted to close out on. We done talked about crime. We done talked about infrastructure and housing. Overhead part B there. Housing. I think that's your uh one of your bread and butters in terms
Yeah, oh
of
yes, it
jobs that you used to
is.
work.
It is.
And so we
Home
continue to talk
ownership.
about
Mm-hmm.
housing here in
Mm-hmm.
the in Blytheville. Mostly I think what housing really would benefit is that we have people who um, say they work out at the mills or what have you, but they don't want to live in Blytheville. Actually, we want them to live in Blytheville. And when we have contractors coming in from other places, we don't have enough apartments. I don't think they will actually want to buy a house, but there's a shortage of apartments as well. I'm talking about something that's livable. I'm not talking about no flea bag. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, so is there anything in terms of your skill set, all the years that you work? Uh, how can you see the housing issue, apartment issue? How can you see that improving? Shall you become the next city council rep?
Okay. I think once your housing improve, your tax base is going to improve. There are some nice subdivisions, or what, for lack of better words, people live at golf links and in other areas where they have nice housing. But as far as in the community, in South Blytheville and such, my experience has been mostly with low to moderate income housing, and that consists of rehabbing housing, new construction, home ownership, literacy, counseling, home, and things of that sort. But as
Mhm,
far as the housing that you're talking about, people that are moving here that are looking to move into a home, there are subdivisions and nice areas of housing in the community
mhm.
that's affordable. And also
If I can interrupt you just for a minute, you
mhm,
you spoke about home ownership, which is, excuse me,
mm,
that's something that I actually should have
mhm,
keyed in on. But
mhm, mhm,
uh to my understanding, are those programs still available? I think there's a lady, I can't call her name, Miss Devia, or I can't pronounce her name,
mhm,
but she's actually worked at the ELC office,
mhm,
and she normally put information out in terms of home ownership
mhm.
or what have
Down
you.
payment assistance,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I'm planning on
Mhm.
bringing her on. Is that something that you also worked in over the
Oh
years?
yes, yes, definitely. That those programs, a lot of those programs were assisted in implementing, and they're still going on today, where people can purchase homes even with low to moderate income.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Well, if there's is there anything else that uh uh that the voters or just the general public for that matter, is there any other uh shall we say benefits? We talked about home ownership, we talked about apartments or whatever. Uh
Hmm.
how else can the city government, that is, I understand that the city they was given some property according to Miss Councilwoman Barbara Brothers.
Hmm.
They was given some property. Some, I guess, some. I don't know if they're some nonprofit group or whatever over in Jonesboro, but they was given some property, and they have that property now, and they not doing anything with it. And in fact, I think it's probably gonna go to waste if they don't do something with it. And so,
You probably have a time frame on it.
yeah, why would the
Yeah.
city? But why would the city purchase? Well, they didn't purchase the property. I think the property was given to them, according to Councilwoman Brothers. But why would they accept some property and we yet have a problem as it is now, tearing down dilapidated homes and either houses that have been abandoned,
Hmm.
left by the owners and then moved to some other state. So why would we add? Why would the city add Kendall to the fire, accepting some property to where they didn't even have a clear plan as to how they was going to use the property? I mean, is that something? Is that what you call good, uh, decision making in terms of whether they need your vote to take on a piece of property? And right now, we already got our hands full. I mean, should we get into the business where we accepting property to where right now we're trying to dispose of what we got,
Yeah, that's.
you know? And so I,
Hmm.
I, I didn't think that made any sense. But of course, the last thing we want to talk about, and then I'm gonna turn it over the audience, the viewers, see if we got any questions there. But we continue to talk about improvement of the city services. There year after year, there's so many. What I say, year after year, month after month, there's quite a few complaints as it relates to policing. Uh, there's been response time. Uh, there's been police officers, three, four, uh, on the parking lot talking. Is in fact, I think our video, four police officers showed up at something as simple as a traffic stop out here by Walmart's, and we claim that we don't have enough police officers, to patrol the city, and that's sort of like taking a bite out of your own message when you said we short of help, but yet and still you send four police officers to a traffic stop. All right. So how can we improve city services in terms of policing, in terms of whether it's garbage, trash pickup, uh, you know, sweeping the streets? I mean, what can you do in terms of working with the department heads uh, uh, to make sure that our city services is being, say, what's the word I'm looking for? What is city services is being carried out as they need be or should be. Let me just leave it at that, and I'll turn it over to you. So, how can we approve of city services?
Well, one thing I think the person that's in charge has to be informed of whatever the situation is going on, and I think that's where you need to start. The public, general public, is going to let you know what's going on, but you need to make sure. Okay, you need to tell the right person, because you could be talking and talking and talking and not talking to the right person to get done. Get something corrected.
Mhm. All right.
So you need to know who is over this department that you need to be contacting to solve these problems. Whether it's the trash not being picked up on the streets after the garbage people run, you need to be able to call your council person, or maybe they can relay the information on to the department head that need that information to get it corrected. Because
And I
sometimes
do think,
people.
I do think the I do think they have developed a website on the
Hmm.
city website to where they can
And that's
actually go
good.
in and
That's
make a
good.
complaint.
That's being transparent. That's good.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's something.
Hmm.
But city services definitely need to be improved, and we need to clean up this city. This city, I tell you, it's an eyesore. The sky cops need to be utilized that way as well. We see
Hmm.
people riding down the street, throwing out trash, throwing
Trash.
out heroin
Yeah.
meat, throwing out
Hmm.
uh, McDonald's sacks, Kentucky Fried Chicken boxes. Like I said the last time, I don't saw them throw out whole Pampers. I guess they'd change the baby in the vehicle, throw a
Hmm.
whole pamper out the window. Just
Mm.
nasty, just plumb nasty,
Oh
nasty.
my gosh.
You know, but uh,
Hmm.
but anyway, that pretty much conclude the three things that we wanted to talk about for us crime. We talked about that, and I think in great length in terms of hitting key points. We talked about as well as we talked about infrastructure and housing, and the last one we talked about improving the city services. And
Hmm.
so, uh, uh, if there's anything that you feel that you need to add as to why you believe, uh, well, that is important, that is, that you feel you need to share with the voters as to why you believe you're the better candidate to serve for Ward 3 position 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the last couple of minutes to go ahead and speak to voters, and thank you for your time after
All
that.
right.
So the
All
floor is
right.
yours.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, like I said before, being a Blytheville resident, I talked to someone the other day, and they were talking about, you got a lot of people that just love Blytheville. I talked to a lady, and she
Hmm.
said she built her home in her neighborhood, and people asked her, why did she build her home in that neighborhood? That's the neighborhood she grew up in, and that's where she wanted to live. And she
Hmm.
have a beautiful home in that neighborhood. So I think, everybody don't look at Blytheville in the same way. I feel I love Blytheville. I have a passion for Blytheville, and I'm gonna be, like I said, I like to research and see what can be done to make Blytheville a better place. I look forward to people moving back to Blytheville. Like I say, I think it has a lot of attributes, but I think as a retirement area, it can really be promoted because a lot of people that I would say did flight back in the 60s.
Uh-huh.
They went to the north for the jobs and all those things, but now they're retired. They making good money. They could come back here and live really good in these areas. And I think that's a marketing point.
Hmm.
Blytheville has many marketing points, but unless we show the outsiders what we have available, that we can be overlooked. Like they said, what they said, a wheel that squeaks the loudest
Oh
was the
yeah.
same thing with what you have. If you show people what you have to offer, it can be very attractive. It's not just I'm not one of those people that bash Blytheville, and I know a lot of us don't, but we want to see Blytheville do better. We want to make it a better place, and we know that it can be better. We know that some things have gone down over the years, and like I said, we just got to pick up and from here. A lot of things, as I said, have been inherited, and I think we can work together to make Blytheville a better place. But I think that's going to be a lot of a community coming together, bridging whatever gaps we have,
Uh-huh.
looking at what can be done to make Bible a better place.
Well, I tell you, it seemed like you ready to go to work.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Well, I tell you, Miss Shirley Marshall, it's been great. I'm glad you stopped in,
Hmm.
speaking to me and speaking to the voters as well.
Hmm.
And hopefully, you have said something that may resonate with them. To hopefully, you have probably done won some voters over. November the 8th will tell the story. And so,
Yes.
I just want to say, don't be a stranger. If you feel like you need to come back before November the 8th, just
Hmm.
give me a buzz.
All right. Thank you.
Uh,
And thank you
I,
again for having me.
Hold up for a minute. I want to see if anyone have any questions for you over here.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Uh oh, this is a I think this is Mrs. Miss Wales. She done wrote a book on me. And let me see if I can read that. It say, good evening, Mr. Hollis. You have three interesting topics tonight, including uh hearing from Miss Shirley Marshall, sharing with us why she's running for council, I guess councilwoman seat or councilman seat, and
Mhm.
making Blytheville a better place to live and work with others, to improve infrastructure, good restaurants for dining and roads and improvements. So that's pretty much just shooting out some love to you.
Thank you.
Um, Miss Audrick again, Miss Barbara Audrick again, Miss Wales. Uh,
Mhm.
Hi, Miss Marshall. What would be your first step you see need to be focused on if you uh, will corroborate with entire board? I guess she's saying is that what would be your first step you see that is needed uh, in working with, I guess, in collaboration with the city council?
I think infrastructure gonna top. I think it's gonna top the
Yeah,
book. I mean, we got some bad streets and people
there's a lot
been
of talk
calling
about
in. We got the
infrastructure.
potholes. We got. I think the infrastructure gonna tip it off right there. I mean,
All
that's gonna
right.
be number one.
Mhm.
Some other things are just as important. I know the housing and all that is important, but the infrastructure, we got to get on that.
Well, I will say this here. I think probably 99.9% of the people is in agreement with you on that,
Hmm.
our
Hmm.
infrastructure. And so
Yeah.
hopefully Miss Wells heard your response.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, let me see, is there another one? Let me see, is that hello, my brother and sister. This is Mrs. Williams, good supporter. She just speaking. Uh, Miss Wells again. The first thing they do, knocking on citizen door, asking about their camera. Uh, it's so ironic that some citizens I heard say you call them for issues, and when they do come investigate, there's no communication getting back with them. Uh, I guess from why from reading that, I guess she's saying is that if you are elected as the next city council person, shall there be any concerns that they have to where they reach out to you and you say to them that you're going to check into it and get back with them? Will you be true to your word?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Mm.
I believe in that. I believe
And
in
you
being
will have an open
accountable.
door policy in terms
Hmm.
of returning
Definitely.
calls
I
and
learned that
listening.
from one of the best, Mr. Scruggs.
All right.
I
Okay.
know maybe you know Mr. Sam Scruggs. He had an
Oh,
open
yeah,
door
that was my buddy.
policy, and he's
Yeah.
one of my main mentors. I really believe in that. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to be able to listen to
God
people.
rest his soul. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And so that was a question that she had. Of course, we got Miss Anderson. This city has no plan because they use the money for their own purpose. Yes, I said it. And so she's just making a statement. That's Sister Anderson's a real
May
good
I add?
go-getter.
May I add something too? Something that I had heard happen. You know, when he talked about when they call the police and they don't come. I've heard people say they call the police, and when the police get there, they checking on their record and find out they got a warrant. They end up being in more
Well,
trouble,
well,
and they the one call.
that
They,
is, I have heard that over the years,
yeah,
and
make
I
them
have
afraid
really
to
heard that
call.
over the years. And so you call the police, but when the police get there, they turn on you.
Yes,
You know, you the suspect.
yes.
You know, and
Hmm.
you already is a little irritated because you call them because you have a issue, but when they
Right,
get there, and now they making you to be a suspect, and so I
right,
can see where it escalating, turning into something else, and
right,
so hopefully leadership, our sergeants, our lieutenants, and our captains going clean up to the chief. I think there need to be better police and community relations. I mean,
right.
that in
Exactly,
itself, that should
exactly,
never happen. That should
exactly.
never happen. You know,
Hmm.
a person called the police. That's their job, is to protect and serve. They are
Protect and
servants.
serve. That's right.
They are servants. They are not
Hmm.
soldiers.
Hmm.
You know, they are servants. And
Right.
so, yes, that's something that definitely need to be improved upon within our local police department. Uh, they do not check sky cams unless it suits their needs. That is so true. Miss Anderson is saying that, we talked about putting someone on the sky cops 24/7, but it
That's a great
seems like
idea.
the way it is now, the only time the sky cops are being utilized is when something happened. When a
Mhm.
crime occurs, somebody gets shot,
Mhm.
or what, somebody broke into something, or whatever.
Mhm.
They go straight to the sky cop, you know, and so that is something that I will say is a plus in terms of having some video footage to show you exactly what previous happened. But I really do believe that we can really bring crime down if we can utilize the sky cops a lot better by placing someone on them 24/7.
Mhm.
And she have another question here, just a statement. It's real bad drainage over here. And yes, it comes into my house again. We still got drainage problem. It seemed like, the previous, not just Merrill Sanders, but even before him,
Mhm.
it just seemed like we just don't wash our hands
Been
of,
going a long, long time.
saying, well, ain't nothing we can do about it.
Gotta
Blah,
be
blah, blah,
something.
blah. I think that is the wrong answer to give taxpayers when they're paying
Right.
their money and you're saying that their tax dollars are at work, then they need to go to work. We need to not stop finding solutions to the flooding problem until we done turn over every rock. And so she's speaking on that.
Mhm.
Uh, of course, we got one other comment here. This is Miss Wells again. Thanks, Mrs. Marshall. Yes, any board needs needs to network with others in training, seminars, and professional institute, making
Right.
sure of updates on various topics along with
Exactly.
guidelines and changing of laws. And
So
so,
important.
pretty much good dialogue coming from them. And so that pretty much conclude uh, the QA and the comments from the board. And I just want to say, let me go back. And I just want to say, I really, come on, Tony. I really want to say I thank you for coming on today and like I say, speaking with me and speaking with the voters, sharing your
Right.
plan or
Yes.
your hopes as to winning over their vote, serving as the next city council rep, Ward 3, Position 2. There
Mhm.
was another, let me see, what is that? That's Sister Anderson again. They put drainage hose in certain neighborhoods. Uh, I'm not sure. Put drainage hose in certain neighborhoods. Uh, Hopefully, we can get a little bit more clarity on that. But anyway, Mrs. Marsha, you have
Mhm.
a remaining blessed day, and
Oh,
we're just
thank you.
almost at the top of the hour. Got about
Mhm.
maybe 3 minutes to close out, and you take care. It's been great.
All right, thank you. And like I said, thank you so much for having me. And I know every vote counts, and I'm really looking forward to being the next city council person, Award 3, Position 2.
All right, you take care now. Bye bye.
All right, thank you. Bye
All
bye.
right. Mhm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my show for today. I thought we had a little time. We almost right that hour there, but I did want to ask that question over here. I did want to ask that question, if I may, go back and the question was that I had up here. Uh, it say, should police officers be drug tested for its continuation of destroying police cars? Okay, and we also had a question, what do you propose to end school violence? As I understand, there was a disturbance at the homecoming game. At first, I heard shots, and so that was my mistake. I think it was two people told me something about shots. That's what I went off. But come to find out, some people who was actually at the game, uh, Mr. Jackson, I think, is one of them that reached out to me that indicated that there was no shots. Uh, and so I'm taking it on that note that it must just have been some type of disturbance, which I don't know exactly what was that. But there was a disturbance to the point to where it got the attention of the announcer to where security had to be called. And so, uh, but the school violence I was alluding to, I watched the video. A lady came on my page. Her daughter was gang uh, 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 jumped on or whatever, something like a gang fight. They ganged up on her. And my heart go out to that young lady. I was a little upset when I had said that we need to require that parents uh, uh, be mandated to attend some type of counseling with their children when they commit these uh, violent acts against their fellow students. And but when I said that out of anger, out of frustration. Uh, it has to be a thought out process, because if we get to the point to where uh, we sort of overreaching, it could lead to a prison pipeline of us incarcerating students without uh, trying to uh, use every tool at our disposal in terms of trying to help that particular student. And so I had to back up off it. I do think that there are some things that can be done before we get to uh, speaking so harshly about uh, removing students from the class setting, and also placing punishment, criminal uh, fines or what have you on the parents. And so I think I need to go back and rethink my proposal solutions or whatever, but something has to be done about school violence. We can't continue to go on like this. Okay. And so we're going to come back and deal with that later. And I do want to show you all this here before I close out. uh I'm still saying, you know uh we we yet are destroying too many police cars. Okay, we just tearing them up, and it seemed like there is no accountability on the police officer. Well, they tear up a car, give them another one. Tear up a car, give them another one. It's costing taxpayers money. And I don't need to tell you what that is doing for our blanket insurance coverage. You know, when our insurance coverage go up, guess what? That cost is passed on to you and me. We got to pay that, okay? Because we got hothead cops that treat these police cars like they toys, okay? And we need to hold them accountable. And when they get out and they damage a car like that, just like on my job that I worked at for over 20 years, when you have an accident on the job, you should be drug tested. You should, especially you don't total out a police car, you need to be drug tested. No if, and, buts about it. You need to be drug tested. And so I'm hoping that the mayor is listening, and Mayor Sanders, uh, this last police car, let me show it to you all. Let me go up here and find it. Um, I had it up here somewhere. Let me go up here and find it. No, I had it. And but this is the police, the latest. Many of you already done saw it in the newspaper. But this is the police car um, that the officer towed up. This is the vehicle right here. You know, and it looked like, unless they don't wash it and it look clean, but this looked like probably one of the latest police cars that we purchased. You know, we cannot continue to allow police officers at the expense of taxpayers tear up police cars and they suffer no accountability. They need to be held to account. It's costing taxpayers too much money, not just to purchase these vehicles, but at the same time, it calls our blanket insurance to increase. If I'm an insurance company and you got hothead cops out there treating these police cars like they toys, well, guess what? I'm gonna jack your insurance up until you can get better control of your police officers to be a little bit more safer drivers. So drug testing should be it should be mandated. It should be mandatory that when we continue to get police officers to wreck and destroy taxpayers' property, okay, that is property of taxpayers, and we demand that the police chief, that he really take action for his police officers who may possibly be up under some type of influence, that it be liquor, that it be some other types of substance, drugs, or whatever. They need to be drug tested. That's only fair. They need to be drug tested. All right. And before I close out, uh, another thing I want to show you all is that Chief Thompson has one of the highest uh, budgets of the city. I'm gonna show you something here. This is this is the the police department budget for, I want to say, where is that? I want to say this, that $7.4 million. This was in 2021, 2020. $7.4 million. Matter of fact, it was 7,466,200 and 54 cent or whatever. That's 7.4 million. And then the following year, uh, it was seven. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit for you. Uh, see if I can blow that up a little bit more. I don't think I can, but $5.8 million. That's a lot of money. 7.4 million in 2020 and 5.8 million in 2021. But if you think that's something, let's go back to, I want to find, they had one budget in 2018. They had something like I want to say it was, is this it? Let me see. That ain't it. I think it was over 10. I want to say it was over $10 million. All right. Right here. Here we go. Now this is one right here. This is the budget. I mean, this budget right here. Let me see. Is I'm showing it? I want to make sure. I don't think I'm showing it. Where we at? I want to make sure. I think I'm showing it now. Okay. Now, this budget right here was $10.7 million in 2018. Okay. And of course, in 2019, it was 6.9 million. For some reason or another, it don't appear that let me make sure that oh, here we go. Now you can see it. All right. Now you can see it. Here we go. Anyway, this budget right here, 2018, it was $10.7 million in 2018. That's the police department budget. You move over to your right, 6.9 million, 2021. It was it was $6.9 million. All right. That's the police department budget. And again, like I say, that was in 2018, of course. Excuse me. That was 2018. Excuse me. That was 2018. Yeah, that was 2018. 10.7, 2018, and 2019. Over to your right, 6.9 million. And of course, for this, I don't have 22, but for 2020 and 2021, look at that. $7.4 million in 2020, and in 2021, $5.8 million. And mind you, this is all during the pandemic, and we yet placing a lot of hardship on taxpayers. All right. So that's really all I had to show you. The police cars, I want to show you. He won't put down police cars. Every item need to have a dollar value, and every dollar value need to have an item beside it. If we'll look, I think he put it up on replacement. I want to say replaced it equipment. Do you see that up there? If you look at the very top, move over to your right. 494,000 $800. That's a $500,000 that is being spent to replace equipment. And how much of that 400 some $1,000? How much of that is in the cost where we done bought police cars? $494,000. That was in 2019 during the pandemic. We spent almost a $500,000 during the pandemic. That's pitiful. Well, you get my point. What I'm saying. But anyway, if you all don't have any more questions for me, my guest is gone. Anything you want to talk about, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Um, we see we got some more questions. I mean, more comments over here. Uh, bu- 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 this is Miss Anderson. Yes, they should, and check on them taking prescription pills. That's another thing. Drugs or medicine of any kind uh, can be considered uh, unsafe when you're operating a vehicle. And so that's another thing when these police officers come on the job. I mean, are they up under any kind of doctor's business in terms of being prescribed medication? Especially those individuals on graveyard shift. But to my understanding, this accident happened, uh, in the regular hours. I would say, and when I say regular hours, I'm talking about probably anywhere between noon and 7 p.m. And so, uh, but yeah, prescription drugs does have a lot to do with it. Uh, Getting ready to close out, you all. It was a disturbance with shots on Main Street doing tailgating that night in a confrontation on Ash Street. I did see all those calls, so that's what that was. I was coming back from church. I went to church that night. I was in Missouri, and when I came over the overpass, man, Lord, what did I drive up into? I mean, I bet it was probably, Lord, I bet it had to be probably close to 1,000 people out there. 500 easy, you know. I mean, cars packed everywhere. And but so that's what that was. Homecoming, tailgating or whatever. But hopefully didn't no one get hurt. You say shots was fired. Uh saying that was on Main and Ash. Hopefully no one got hurt. Um I worked at Newport Steel for 20 years, and if an accident occurred, you were drug test right then. Uh, on most jobs, doing testing is required after an accident. That is true. I worked out there as well. I mean, it ain't like you going to lunch and you take your drug test later on in the evening. All when you get hurt, the job that I work, you get hurt, you going over there to see the nurse, and you finna drop some urine right then and there. Take some hair samples. If a lot of time they do that, they shed hair, because this urine test, they got so many stuff to where it interferes with and getting an accurate reading test, and so they go and they get shavings of the hair on the body. But yeah, that is correct. There's no waiting when it don't even have to be an accident. If there is what is called a near miss, you almost had an accident where you perhaps could have injured yourself or someone else, then yes, you still uh, have to go and take a drug test. It's not just in cases when you get hurt. It's just the fact that you could have gotten hurt. In some cases, it could have been seriously injured. Uh, but yeah, that is true. Uh, Hello, Mister. How you doing there, Miss Black? But Miss Black, uh, that's what they still. Let me see. That's what they still doing, even if you get hurt on the job. That's right. Drug testing again. I'm guessing that's what she was referring to. shouldn't be no different than for the police officers. You get hurt on the job or whatever, you should be drug tested. We just continue to tear up police cars at the taxpayers' expense. But y'all, that's my show. I look like I'm 15 minutes over. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I want to say I may do something Tuesday. Don't know yet because I did something today. But normally I come on Tuesday. Today was just a special uh, broadcast with my guest there. We got the election up on us, but more than likely you will see me this come Tuesday. Okay, topic to be announced. And so until then, I want to say peace and love, good night, and God bless.